I truly didn't know that I was gay.
Two, sex researcher Dr. Alfred Kinsey released his New York Times bestseller, Sexual Behavior in the Human Male. He followed it 5 years later with Sexual Behavior in the Human Female. Kinsey's nauseatingly systematic examination of every minute facet of sexual behavior blew the top off sexual morality. His books made some very dramatic and false claims which painted the average American as wild and uninhibited in bed. The Kinsey Report also claimed that approximately 10% of the male population between the ages of 16 and 55 is homosexual. If the Kinsey Report is true, people thought, then there must be many more homosexuals in society than everybody realized. It is now known that Kinsey lied about his test subjects' backgrounds. He claimed they were normal, everyday citizens, and this is important. He's claiming that they're normal, everyday people, when in fact they were deviants, criminals, and child molesters. This drastically changed his results, as you might imagine. The actual percentage of homosexuals in the male population is around 2%. This, according to one of the most thorough nationwide surveys done on male sexual behavior, which was conducted by scientists at Battelle Human Affairs Research Center in Seattle. To give you an idea of how truly disturbing Kinsey's tests were, he included a great deal of information on childhood sexual experiences, including, for example, at what age children could achieve orgasm, the amount of time it took children to reach orgasm, and whether or not they were capable of multiple orgasms. Kinsey had actively advertised for information on childhood sexual experience, trolling for pedophiles and anyone else who might have interesting experiences, and asking them to send their data to him. He heavily relied on information of child sexual abuse from one man in particular, Rex King, a government land examiner in the southwestern United States. Kinsey drove across the country to have a secret meeting with this man who kept meticulous journals of his sexual abuse of hundreds of children. These diaries included physical measurements and stopwatch records to the hundredths of a second. To protect this criminal, Kinsey gave him the code name Mr. Green.
This individual was, I suppose you might say, sex. His interest in sex was his main hobby in life. Anything was a sexual object for him. He was interested in having sex with men, women, and children and animals. And he just was curious to see what would happen.
He had had intercourse with hundreds upon hundreds of males and females of every conceivable age.
He molested at least 800 boys and girls, recording the details in explicit handwritten diaries. In his book, and based primarily on Green's information, Kinsey claimed that children could, with the assistance of an experienced adult, enjoy sexual activity from the moment they were born.
Basically, then, Kinsey was, at least tacitly, encouraging people to masturbate, penetrate, and otherwise torment children in order to study so-called childhood sexuality. Because Kinsey was able to keep his disgusting research tactics hidden at the time, his fraudulent work became the spark that ignited the sexual revolution. Which brings us